Hello and welcome to Clear Waters on a Friday, beautiful night. What is your motivation for believing in God? Clear Waters, why are you always asking questions, man? Why? Stop asking questions. Can't you just believe and stop asking questions? Why do you want to know everything? Why you want to understand everything? Why? Just give it up, man. How much? How much is your conscience? Come on. I'm gonna sell my conscience to one of these currently available gods. No, thank you. I think I'm broken emotionally, but not to that point that I'm willing to ignore reality and make myself feel good with one of these gods. No, I'm not that broken. And also, I always say that I have a little problem. I can think. And it just happens that gods or invisible entities don't like people asking questions, trying to be smart. No, siree. But anyways, what is your motivation for believing in God? I'm going to do a little presentation here in 1 minute and explain to you my view on what could be your motivation for believing in God, Allah, Olodumare, Odin, Buddha, or anything that is invisible. So, welcome to this live stream, and let's just double check that my audio is good. It's good, and the Discord is up and running for anybody that wants to call in and have a conversation. There's a Discord link at the bottom of the screen and also pinned on the chats. So let's jump right to the presentation. What could be your motivation for believing in God? Javier, that's a very, very simple question to answer. My motivation is God. You see? Very simple. It's God's love. That's what motivates me. I don't agree. I don't think so. Javier, bro, how do you know what I'm thinking or feeling? Are you a human being? You are? Yeah. You operate under the same rules as any other human being. So this is not about having magic powers. As long as you're a human being, you're gonna operate as a human being. So what do I mean by this? Let's jump into the presentation. Okay, scene number 1. The question, mainly, what do you feel from believing? Let that sink in a little bit. Let's sink in. Is it there yet? Are you upset already or not? Not yet. You're like, man, what are you asking these questions? Just leave me alone with my God, Lord and Savior. You're always asking questions, stinky waters. So, yeah, I'm asking you as a believer in God, mainly, what do you feel from believing? Of course, I have heard many times some of these answers from believers. Some believers will ask or say, Stinky Waters, what does God have to do with feelings? Yeah, you heard that correctly. Some believers ask me this question, Javier, what does God have to do with my feelings? Or my feelings have to do with God? Yeah. Believe it or not. Also, some believers say, well, Javier, we're human. We all have feelings. So what's wrong with that? Yes, not exactly that something is wrong, but wait right there. Also, I have heard from some believers, what is the problem with having feelings for God? I don't know if I would call it a problem. I'm gonna throw away the key. Also, why can I love God? Why can pesky atheists and unbelievers just leave me alone with my Lord and Savior? I want to feel His love and I want to love God. No, this is not exactly what's happening. You'll see. Wait 1 minute. And also, I have heard, why does any of this have anything to do with whether God exists? Man, if you're in case you're thinking about this question, just hang in there for 1 more minute. We'll talk about this. So, I think you as a believer and me as a doubter or non-believer or atheist or whatever you want to call me, I'm not convinced. Probably you can agree with me in one thing. When you believe in God, you get some feelings. You get to feel the love of God. Can you imagine that? Feeling the love of the most powerful and loving being in the universe. There's no higher love than that. Love. Yes, Javier. Yes, I admit it. It feels wonderful. Probably you also feel security. We're talking about the most powerful being in the universe loving you and protecting you. Of course, you're going to feel security. You might feel hope. Believing in God might give you meaning in your life, purpose. Maybe you get to feel special or chosen. You know, when you tell people over and over that you're saved. Yeah. I feel comfort during moments of suffering. And of course, a sense of importance for those debaters. You know, you feel like very eloquent and smart. Make you feel important that you are defending the belief or the most powerful being in the universe. Of course you feel important. Also, a sense of being a better person than others. You know what I'm talking about. All those believers that are going to tell you how to live your life. How to be a good person because they believe they are a good person and they're not. And also a sense that life has an ultimate explanation. Yes, you figured it out. Man, you're so smart. One common thing about all these feelings that you're getting, there's one commonality. All these things feel good to you. I think if you're an honest human being or honest believer, which I don't know, I have my doubts in regards to that. I think you must accept that believing in God feels good. Some people, no, Javier, you're wrong. It feels bad. It feels bad. Oh, really? It feels bad. What feels bad to you about God? No. What I meant by that was that I feel good in a bad way. Okay, I know where this is going. You're going to do acrobatics, right? So I have a question for believers in invisible entities, especially believers in invisible entities from foreign countries, like the God of Israel. I ask you a question. Are you believing in God because God is real or because believing in God feels good? But every time I ask this question to a believer, they go like, what? What are you talking about? What? Acrobatics, man. Start doing those acrobatics. Believing in God has nothing to do with feelings. What are you talking about? You're the feelings guy, Javier. You're the Clearwater's feelings guy. You want to talk about feelings. Yes, you're 100% right. Let's talk about your feelings. What is my view about your motivation to believe in an invisible entity like the God of Israel? I tell you what is my view. In order to reap the emotional benefits associated with believing in God, you only need to believe. You don't need God to be real. You don't even need to prove that God is real. What motivates a believer to believe in God is the positive feel state believing provides. No God or invisible entity is required. Wow. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to be so honest and transparent about your psychology and feelings. Yeah, I keep repeating it. Believing in God has nothing to do with a God or invisible entity. We're talking about you and your feelings, your feel states. No God included. So, this is my presentation about what motivates you to believe in God. What you feel, that's what motivates you, not the God. Don't confuse the two. They are totally two different things. So, let's look into the chats and also let's open the phone lines for anybody that wants to call in, ask me questions, or push back on my view that you're believing in a God because of how it feels to you, not because of the God. Which opens a whole new conversation about the believer, not the God. What's going on inside that mind? What's going on inside that heart? Talk to me. Because whatever is going on in that head and in that body is leading you to believe in invisible entities. So some people will define it as going to unreasonable ways to make yourself feel better. Something about life is bothering you. And you are going to extremes. You're going outside time and space to find a God out there to make you feel good. I know, Javier, the 500 witnesses, the resurrection. Yes, I know. You found God. Yes, of course. Sure. So, let's open the phone lines. Oh, Luke, really, welcome to the live stream and thank you so much for the jewels. Thank you. We're talking about what motivates people to believe in invisible entities. Wow, there's a bunch of people on the vertical. Just in case you don't know, I'm live streaming on two separate streams. One is vertical and one is horizontal. So if you find like there's not many people in one stream, you can switch to the other one. Just go to my channel. You're gonna see both streams. As in right now, there's more people on the vertical stream. Sometimes it just switches and there's more people on the horizontal. I don't know what makes the difference. I don't know. There's a link at the bottom of the screen where you can call me and have a conversation with me. You don't have to show your face if you don't want. Only thing I'm asking is try to be respectful. I know this is a topic that some people get excited, emotional, but that doesn't mean that we have to be out of control. Now as in right now, we don't have any callers, so let's go to the chat and read your messages. Welcome Romans 1 to the live stream. Luke really writes, one is mobile stream, the other is web stream for PC. Thank you for clarifying that. I'm not very knowledgeable about that, but I can see both live streams on my phone. I think I noticed that some people, I don't know why, they watch my live streams on the TV. That's crazy. I can see that on YouTube. Well, some people want to watch it on the TV. That's fine with me. Michael Edwards writes, demons I think are real. They hide supernatural past intelligence and are called intelligences. They appear as gods and saints and dream and make us maniac and twist our ignorance to their own intellect. Wow, that's a lot of imagination. Decarboxylation writes, the idea of demons is ridiculous. We have no evidence of spiritual entities of any kind. And try to explain that to a believer in an invisible entity from a foreign country like the God of Israel. In case you missed it, I made a presentation at the beginning of the live stream, like 5 minutes presentation, where I try to provide my view on how a human being ends up believing in a God. There's a reason for that, and it's not God. Sorry to be so blunt, but I think it will be better for you and me and this humanity if we stop lying to ourselves. It's not good for you. It's not good for anybody. Telling other people, yeah, my God is real. I talk to him. No, man, just stop lying. We have a caller, Curse Buddy. I don't think I have you. If you don't mind, if you can tell me who you are on the live stream on YouTube. I like to reference people on the live stream, just protecting the server, Discord server. Just let me know who you are, and I'll be happy to let you in. Yeah, if you're gonna call me for the first time, you're gonna be muted automatically. Just let me know who you are, your username in YouTube, and then I'll let you in. It's just a protection measure because my live streams have been bombarded before. So I protect the server. Poetry for punks. It's me. Oh, all right. Give me just 1 second, I'll let you in. Thank you for the confirmation. There you go. You're muted.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, give me just 1 second because I don't think they can hear you on the live stream, so let me bring you up. How you doing, Cursed Buddy?
Well, I'm doing good. How are you doing, man?
Great, thank you. You have a question? You want to say something about the presentation of the topic?
So I guess I'll ask you, a few questions on like what you think.
Sure.
So if correct me if I'm wrong. So I just want to make sure I understand you. You're saying that people are religious or believe in God because of like their emotional feelings, how it makes them feel, or it's not really about the truth of the matter, but it's more of a feeling motivated desire.
Yes. 100%. 100%. Yes.
Would you say that's kind of true for like all beliefs or just specifically this one?
Everything.
So, I mean, do you believe like things are true independent of feelings? Like you would agree with that?
Like for example?
Like the sun exists independent of how we feel about it or something like that.
I don't care too much about if I believe or I don't believe. I just enjoy the sun. I can see it, I can feel it, and that's enough for me. And I live my life just thinking about the sun, on my skin, and that's it.
So like you're not concerned with like truth being like objective. It's more of like just experiencing life, kind of.
If anybody, for example, in your case, you mentioned truth. It seems to me
Mm-hmm.
that you might be looking for truth. I just want to
Um,
understand that part so I can answer your question.
yeah, yeah. So like when we're talking about, well, like for me, when we're discussing, I think God or gods or whatever you want to categorize it as, a lot of people, not everyone, I would agree, some people are emotional, but some people want to know what the state of reality is, and some people are searching for that, whether if they decide it's God or not. I think a lot of people are not just motivated by um
Feel
like
good?
frivolous emotions, more
Hmm.
just like a desire for knowledge,
You
if that
know,
makes
uh,
sense.
yes, I think I understand your question. I think the best way to explain it if you can come up with a very hard scenery or example to what I'm saying, something that you don't think it applies what I'm saying.
So like an example of people aren't using like emotions to why they believe in God, pretty much, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Uh, well, like I think a lot of people are persuaded by like logical arguments that aren't emotional because logic is like absent of emotion. Would you agree with that or no?
In a way, yes.
What is the
Bec-
way in the way you don't agree?
because there's no way you can get rid of feelings, because feelings is the way we move on this earth.
Um, I agree you can't get rid of feelings, but don't you feel that um there can be things that are based in reality that aren't dependent on how we feel?
For example,
Like gravity would still be happening regardless of agents existing in the universe. It would still be happening, and that's independent of how you or I feel about it. That would be like something independent, not mind
mm,
dependent.
as a human being and me moving on this earth, I don't require to believe in gravity.
Well,
So
you're not.
no,
Oh,
yeah.
sorry.
So
Go
it's
ahead.
so my feelings not necessarily have to be connected with idea or belief about gravity.
But it doesn't change the fact that gravity
Yeah,
exists.
I agree.
Okay, so then not all things are about feeling. There are some things we can know that are some type of objective truth, regardless of stances and
So
emotion.
in a way, yes, but in
Yeah.
relationship to you as a human being, okay? If you're gonna use something, anything on this earth or in the sky or whatever, I don't know, whatever you're gonna use as logic, information, you're gonna move toward that thing. You need
hmm
feelings. For
Yeah, but I think
example,
that. Go ahead.
just to give an example, because I don't think we have target an example specifically. So someone wants to know the truth about life,
Yeah.
and they're motivated to investigate and research, right?
hmm
Right. So for me, in order for someone to do that, you require feelings. There's absolutely no other way to do it but through feelings.
Yeah. Yeah. That's. I think that's kind of just evidently true for most people. Yeah, I'd agree with that. You need desires and motivations to perform actions. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's say a person is researching, investigating everything that has to do with the truth about God.
hmm
They are going to reference whatever they have found to whatever makes sense to that person. And
Yeah.
for that, you require a feeling.
Okay. Doesn't the same exact argument work in the reverse though?
For example,
To if you when I'll use the exact same thing you said for
mhm,
somebody who is thinking about reality or whether God exists or not, they're going to use their emotions and feelings to come to a conclusion, and they will use their emotions and feelings to come to the conclusion that God doesn't exist.
yes,
So
you're
so
right.
both do it. Yeah, so
Yes,
both do it.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely correct.
So, yeah. So what?
Atheist is doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you're right. I agree.
Okay. So I'm kind of confused on is your argument just that people use emotions to make decisions? Is that like really all you're saying? I just want to make sure
It seems to
I'm
me
clear.
that as a human being, we operate in a certain way. Our brains gathers information, and
Mm-hmm.
we compare that information to our feel states
Yeah.
in any moment of the day. So if you find yourself in a negative state about something,
Mm-hmm.
okay, like for example, you're wandering around YouTube and you found what I said.
Yeah.
That something about the topic, the title, or something that I said changed something emotionally in you.
Yeah.
Okay, probably something in the 1% or 0.1% in the negative side. That doesn't mean that it's bad. Probably
Yeah.
it encouraged curiosity or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
when you get too cold, take that action, there's a feeling behind that action.
Yeah.
You get too
Yeah.
cold. Okay?
Yeah.
So for me, it's the exact same thing for anything in this life, including believing in a God.
Okay. So maybe so I can get more clarification. Do you
Mhm.
believe in God or no? I'm just trying to understand where you stand on the question.
In my view, I cannot prove that there's no God.
So more
So
of like oh,
there's a
go ahead, sorry.
possibility. There's a possibility that there's a God. I just don't think. People ask me what are the probabilities in my view that the God of the Bible is real. I tell them 0.1%. I don't put it in
Okay.
zero, but put it very, very low.
What gives you that percentage point? Like what makes you feel that it's or think that it's like a 1% chance?
It sounds extremely human
What
because
about it?
the God of the Bible gets upset, doesn't know where people are, so they have to call for them, gets jealous, and he's supposed to be timeless and all-knowing, and suddenly he doesn't know certain things. He tests us when he already knows what's gonna be the results of the test. So there's a lot of stuff that sounds extremely human about this God of the Bible.
Do you think just because something sounds human, therefore it is human?
No, it doesn't. I'm not saying that God is human, but it sounds to me
No, I
extremely
know that's not what
human.
you're.
Yeah, it
No,
sounds
yeah.
extremely human. So for that reason, I don't think we're talking about a God.
So correct me if I'm misunderstanding again. So if the reason you reject Christianity in particular is because some parts of it sound very human to you, and that's a reason you don't believe in it.
No,
Okay.
that will be part of it because I go back to my first view that we are looking for God for emotional reasons.
So like to help with how like we live our lives, like to help with negative emotions is
Yeah,
what you mean?
I can give you another example probably to
Yeah,
illustrate.
go ahead.
So there are some people when they're young, young in years, they don't care about dying or mortality. They don't care about these things. So they don't believe in any God. They don't care. When people start turning 30 or 40 and, people start getting old, they start to question life and what's going to happen to them when they die. They start to question and get worried about mortality. So the mind sees these negative states and start looking around to get the human being to a positive feel state because that's part of the job of the mind or the brain. I don't know. So what's the only thing in your life that could give you comfort about you continuing life after you die? I ask people, a spouse can do that? Your job can do that? Your family? No. Probably one of these gods that is offering eternal life. So the mind sees this and say, voila, bingo, I found a way to get you into a positive feel state. So he connects this data to your feelings and now you move into a positive feel state And now you're less anxious about your mortality because you know that God is real and he's waiting for you and he's going to give you eternal life. But in this process, no God necessary.
Okay. So you're saying that people believe in religion or God because they have a hard time grasping or dealing with the idea that they're going to die, and that religion brings them emotional comfort, and they believe it because of the emotional comfort.
Some people do. Some other people find comfort in using a God to demonstrate their talents or their intelligence. This happens a lot with people that engage in debates. If you notice some debates, people are not talking about a God. They're trying to prove how smart they are or how intelligent they are. So they're using the God to express or to move themselves from a negative feel state, not necessarily a negative feel state, but a state of not comfort. And they jump into the ring with other people in order to be able to feel good about themselves with the opportunity to get into an intellectual battle with someone else, you know? So there are other reasons other than just mortality.
Okay.
Some other people, if you allow me one more thing, some other people find in believing in God, it gives them meaning in their life. It gives them something to live for.
Do you think that's a bad thing, or neutral, or negative, or positive, or how do you view what you said?
There are positive and negative aspects of doing this unconsciously, because someone that knows this process can filter some biased information in this process. You know, the God is good, the God is loving, and they can inject some toxic doctrine in that information, and the person is going to totally bypass this unfiltered, and they're going to accept other things besides God waiting for them when they die.
So you're saying that by having these beliefs, people have the ability to believe things that are not true, and the things that they might believe that are not true can harm other people,
even the believer.
Yeah, even themselves. But like,
Yes.
So you're saying it's harmful to believe these things because when you believe things that aren't true, it causes you to do behavior that can affect other people in a negative way.
Affect themselves and other people, their families, their spouses, their country, and ultimately the world. I mean, there's so many negative aspects also about teaching people that, for example, you're a sinner, you're dirty, and you need something external of you to make you good, to make you better. For me, that's a toxic teaching, especially for children. Very bad.
I'm gonna ask a question that might be kind of hard to answer, but
Throw it.
how do you ground truth? Like, how do you know something is true or not true?
I'm not bothered too much about the word truth, because I know if I'm looking for truth, I have to ask myself, what is my motivation to be finding truth? What's going on in my life that I want truth? Probably my motivation is, I want to get into this finding a treasure, and I want to engage in this finding God excitement experience. You know, talking to people, engaging with people, and be able to prove my knowledge and my eloquency, talking about God.
Yeah.
And, so for me, my truth right now is that I'm very ignorant. I need to fix some things in my life. I have lived my life mostly ignorant about everything, and I'm trying to fix that. So yeah, that's my truth right now. I'm very ignorant, and I'm working on it.
So, maybe if I try to ask it this way, let's say, like, I can just do it. Let's say I say that I am a giant apple. Let's say I say something like that. How would you know if I'm lying or not? Like, I'm trying to ask, how do you determine what something is true? Like, when someone makes a claim, like, what is your process on determining if they're being truthful or not? You know what I mean?
Yes, I think we're gonna go back to value. You're providing me some data that you have a big apple.
Yeah.
Okay, I go through my field states. I don't find anything that I need to move myself from a negative field state into a positive field state. So I tell you, okay, I congratulate you. Eat your apple. I don't care.
But like, would you believe I have an apple?
Don't care.
Well, isn't it kind of weird? Like, it seems like you don't care about the truth.
No. Let me see if I can help you a little bit. I'm gonna tell you.
Yeah.
If you tell me I have an apple that if you bite it, it makes you feel wonderful. It changes your life. It's gonna give you a new heart. I'm like, wait a second. That got my attention. You know, I go through my field states. I'm like, man, some days I feel a little down. I could eat one of these apples and make myself feel better automatically. So I'm gonna ask you, hey, can you let me see that apple? And then I'm interested because I'm starting to find value in the data that you are providing me. Do I explain myself?
Yeah,
So
I understand what you're. Yeah. Go ahead,
If someone is telling me, like I give the example sometimes in this live stream, someone tells me, Javier, you have to believe that George Washington was a real person. I'm like, sure, whatever. I don't care. I've checked my field states. It doesn't bother me. I don't care. But if someone tells me there's a guy that walks on water, multiplies bread and wine and all these miracles and cure people, and he dies and he can wake up again, I'm like, man. And what else? Well, he's going to judge you when you die. And if you don't pay attention, he's going to punish you, or you're going to be punished yourself if you don't pay attention to him. I'm like, man, I think I would like to know if you have evidence of this, or maybe you're making this stuff up, or maybe you were persuaded to believe this stuff. I don't think there's some value in this information for me or not.
Okay. I think I'm having a little bit of confusion because, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. It seems that one moment I'm saying, okay, how do you determine if a statement is true? And then you say you look at your feel states, how you feel about it. And if you have a positive emotional feeling towards it, you're more likely to accept it as true. But if you have like a more negative feeling towards it, you're more like skeptical towards it. Am I understanding you?
Not necessarily. There's going to be examples when someone tells me, Javier, I have a little stick that if you make it move around 3 times, it's going to make you feel good. I'm just give me the stick. No need to convince me. Give me the stick. I'll swap it 3 times to make myself feel good. It seems to me that there's a possibility you're trying to make something very simple that is extremely complicated. But we can still talk about very simple examples.
Yeah, that's what I think I'm trying to. I'm basically just trying to understand how you know what you know. In philosophy, there's a term called epistemology, and it's basically kind of that idea. And I'm trying to figure out how you take in information and how you judge it to be truthful or not. And I'm kind of one moment it seems like you're saying that I hear a statement like there is an apple, and then I take that information in, I have a feeling about said information, and then I make a conclusion if I determine it's true or not. That's what it sounds you're saying. You might not be meaning that, but that's how it's coming across to me. And I would say that's kind of a weird way to determine if something is true based on your like emotional feel states. Because just because you feel a certain way about something doesn't give anything truth value.
Bingo. Yes, exactly. What you just said right there is exactly it. Feel states is for us to move in life, to get you from point A to point B, not to come to conclusions about what you call truth. It seems to me, and I could be wrong, that the closest thing that I can determine that something is true to me or truth to me is functionality.
What was that last word? It kind of cut out for me.
Functionality.
Functional. Yeah.
Something works for me emotionally, physically, mentally. Something makes sense. Yeah, I think that's my truth. Yes.
Okay.
And
Okay. So you're saying things are true as long as they're functional.
yeah, like in the case of a believer, they say God is real because it works for them. That's how they say God is the truth, because they have reached that truth because it works for them. The God makes them feel good.
Okay. So if you're saying things are true because they're functional, if say religious belief is functional, if Christianity is functional for them, therefore it's true.
Not the religion, the feeling.
Well, the feeling is true. Well, like, what do you mean that the feeling is true? That, like, I'm confused by that.
Yeah, I said, I don't said that I come to conclusion about truth like this way, but the closest thing to me that I will define something as being truthful, if it works for me, it has some functionality, something application that I can do. Because, for example, if someone that doesn't believe in God, God stands in front of that person, I mean, would they care? No,
If
it doesn't serve. It doesn't serve a purpose for that person.
Well, even if, like, say you don't believe in a certain religion, there is something functional you can get out of.
Can we stay with that example, because there's more more
information
there.
So you're saying, sorry. So you're saying, go ahead. Sorry, I'm not trying to cut you off. It just delays a little bit.
No worries. Yeah. So that example, someone that doesn't believe in God or doesn't know who God is, God stands in front of that person. They don't care. They don't see God as truth. Even if someone else thinks that God is the truth, for them it's not.
Yeah, I can understand people will think differently about it, but maybe let me make sure I'm understanding the example right. You're saying, let's say if God himself stood in front of a non-believer, he's just not going to care. Is kind of what you're saying? Maybe yes. I'm misunderstanding.
The only way it will care the person is if God does something that will influence that person in an emotional way. Then that person will say, whoa, this is the truth.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Just because someone doesn't care doesn't therefore mean something is false, though.
Exactly.
Like, I can understand.
I agree with you.
Yeah. So, like, I can understand, like, if you're, maybe this is what it sounds like you're saying. Just because God is or could be doesn't therefore mean I ought do anything or feel any way about it. Someone's gonna have to give me a motivator.
Yes.
To connect with the being emotionally. So I think I'm getting what you're saying now. So like,
I can give you a contrasting example. There's an entity called Chulum. Chulum is the creator of the universe.
Okay.
But why people don't know about Chulum or worship Chulum, and they don't call Chulum the truth? Because there's no emotional benefit in believing in Chulum, because the Chulum's message to humanity is, don't believe in me, don't follow me, and just tell me how did it go when you come back to me. That's it.
Well, I could flip this in reverse. So let's take the non-theistic position, okay? Believing in the non-theistic position doesn't give you emotional motivators. It gives you negative emotional motivators. It makes you realize the world has no meaning. You realize that the world is full of suffering and there's no redemption for that suffering. That it motivates you to realize that you're alone in the world, that nothing ultimately matters, and when you die, that's it. There's a bunch of people who are just gonna die, children, or just horrible things happen to people. There's a bunch of things that doesn't bring people comfort or anything. It demotivates them but they still believe it because it's true.
Believe what?
they still believe that there is no God, even though they're negatively motivated to believe. They're negatively motivated. Their emotional states are negative, but they still believe in it.
Okay.
So the same thing for religious people. Like I feel like you're not really, you haven't provided a symmetry breaker between the two, because basically your argument can be just reversed and it's just as valid, and it doesn't work is what I'm kind of getting at.
Let's reverse it.
Yeah, I did. So like you're saying that people believe things because it provides a positive emotional feeling. But the atheistic worldview or the non-theistic worldview is comfortless. There is no help, there is no redemption, there is no love. At the end of the day,
no.
well, I mean,
why are you
well,
saying that?
no. When you die, it's over. So there is no redemption for your suffering. It's just over. There is no Jesus. There's no love. There's none of that.
Are you a
That's just the
non-believer?
truth. Yeah, I'm a deist. I'm not a theist though. But like, if when you die, there's nothing. You're suffering. You just suffer. You die. You die.
That's your view.
No, that's the reality. If you reject God, though, that's the reality.
Yeah, but the death in itself, for someone that doesn't care, does it have any value to believe that there's emptiness in dying? No, the person doesn't care. But
no,
the person, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. No, go ahead. No. I think you can give more information.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that if people are motivated by their feeling states and they choose beliefs based on the positive feeling they have, if you look at like an atheistic worldview or a non-religious worldview, you're going to have to accept the reality that this is the only life you have. Mm-hmm. That's a comfortless feeling, because you realize there is suffering in the world happens. You go through pains. There's no ultimate, there's nothing after this. So whatever lot you get is the lot you get. And it sometimes can be very miserable, like kids who get cancer or something. Their life is just over. And there's no redemption in them for them. And that is not a positive emotional state to come to grips with, even though it's true in that worldview. That is true that like once you die, it's over. But there's no comfort in that. But people who are atheists still believe it because they know there's true. They know there's no God, but they're not motivated positively by that feeling. It's a negative feeling, but they believe it anyway. So if you're saying theists only believe in this because of a positive emotional thing, and that's why people in general make decisions like that, that's just not true based on like a non-religious worldview. Non-religious people would disagree with you.
So in the case of a believer, possibly God gives meaning to their life, right?
Yeah.
In the case of the atheist, no. Right?
Yeah.
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 So what do you suspect an atheist doesn't end his life right there?
Well, there's a lot of biological factors. I mean, we have like a will to live evolutionarily. We want to reproduce. There's psychological factors.
So there are other motivations, right? Something else.
Those aren't like feeling states. Those are like instincts and other things that drive.
No. If you allow me to clarify.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, feel states. It doesn't matter where you come from. It can come from a God. It can come from someone's family. It can come from any angle, anywhere. It doesn't matter. Feel states are not like, where's it coming from? It's going to go from, no. So for a believer, they could use a God to provide meaning to their life. A non-believer will find other sources of feel good that doesn't include an invisible entity. Because it doesn't matter if it's an invisible entity or a real entity, it doesn't matter. Is yourself being able to move through this earth by moving from one feel state to the other. It doesn't matter what the feel state. Some people have meaning in their life by their wife or their husband. That's it. That's all they need. Yeah. They don't need an invisible entity.
Yeah.
And also just to add that one more thing. Some people, they're not afraid of dying. Some people are terrified to think that they're going to be eternal.
Yeah, that's true. But if what you're saying is the reason why people determine if something is true is based on how good it makes them feel, there's a lot of counter evidence, empirical evidence that that's not true because people still believe in things that only provide negative feel states, like philosophical pessimism, like all of that branch of philosophy. I mean, you can look at Schopenhauer, you can look at a bunch of people who have talked about this, and like they'll say my philosophy is comfortless, but it's still true. So they're not motivated to believe in that because it feels good to them or gives them comfort or something. They're believing in it because they think there's some objective or some other standard at which they evaluate facts. So that's why I think like your argument's a little strange because like take God away from it. That's not, people aren't only motivated by feel good states. It seems like you have a hedonistic kind of view of like decision making.
So that person or that example that you mentioned, they could be lying, right? You're not that person. They could be mistaken. They could be confused. In your case, what is your truth?
Like how I come to not like, a justified true belief is like what I would consider knowledge, I guess. It's like the way you evaluate a fact is you try to have some type of epistemology that is stance independent to where you can arrive to conclusions. Like unless you don't think truth exists, but I think like there are
you have a truth.
That's so vague. Like, what do you mean?
Have you reached a truth about something, or do you think something is the truth? What is the truth?
Yeah, like I think that I exist in some way. It might not be exactly in the way that I'm perceiving it, but I have a mind. I think, therefore I am. You know, to quote Descartes, funnily. But you know, if I'm thinking, something is doing the thinking. I exist in some way. I think I can argue for that to make sense. But I think I can.
That's an easy example because you feel good to be alive.
Yeah, at times it feels good to be alive. At times,
yeah. So
it doesn't.
let's bring him more to the topic at hand, which is God.
Okay.
Do you believe that God is the truth, the God of the Bible?
No, I don't think the God of the Bible is. No.
So I'm trying to understand.
Do you know what deism is? Do you know what deism is?
You say deism or theism?
With a D. Deism.
Remind me, please.
Deism is it's a belief that a God exists that created the universe, that created matter and material, like what the universe is made of. But he's not the same as like a Christian concept of, you know, he's interpersonal, he cares what we do, he interacts with us in that way. Okay. It's just basically the idea that God created the universe and exists and has done things to bring it about and has created laws and things for the way it's ordered and functioned. But nothing more than that. It's just the thing that began the universe. And that is, I think that is more true than the inverse, if that makes sense.
That God created the universe?
Yeah, like a God did. There's not a specific one, but would you
say that is a truth for you?
Yes, but it's not just based on how I feel about it. I would demonstrate it through arguments that are not based on how I feel.
So how do we demonstrate that what you think is true is true?
Well, I mean, I can give you like arguments, and then you could see if you disagree with them. I mean, if that makes sense or if it works.
But wouldn't arguments will be some way persuasive to try to convince? Why not the God itself?
I'm confused. What are you saying? Why don't I just have God physically appear in front of you or something, like empirically,
or point to, because you know how many times I've talked to people on these live streams and other ways in other debates and stuff like that, and they have come with this load of research and investigation, and they think that they have figured it out. And now they say they have the truth. I'm like, man, I think the truth is God, not your conclusion. So you could feel that you have the truth and still be wrong. So
yeah, but I'm not basing it on just my emotions. I'm basing it on like a logical, evidential argument. It's not just how I feel. It's like we look at the material world. We both have the experience of the material world around us. We're both trying to make sense of that material world and how we find our place in it, how it arose. We look at it through scientific measurements. We go back and we date things. We look at the world in that way. We know the universe began to exist in some point. I mean, the Big Bang happened. We try to figure out and explain what caused those particles or those material to happen. The universe is tuned in a way that brings about life. And we look at those things and we try to understand, okay, how do we make sense of those facts that we find? And if you look at a naturalist way of viewing things, a lot of those questions are really hard for them to answer. It doesn't mean they're unanswerable, but there's logical. I'm not logical. There's tension between, okay, if you believe, I don't know if you do, most of things have causes. The universe is a thing, and a lot of people would conclude, therefore, there's some type of cause to the universe. You don't have to reject all. You can reject all religion and have no religion, and you'd still have to contend with those questions of why the universe seems to be finely tuned in the way that it is. Say no humans were religious, like had a conventional religiosity. Like there's no, say Christianity disappears from the planet, so does Islam or whatever. The question still would stand, and it would still be an argument to like, okay, there seems to be something that has caused us to be that way. And it seems like it would be some sort of mind potentially, considering what we understand about what minds are. And minds construct things, and the universe appears to be constructed in a way and ordered in a way that brings about life. And like, you don't have to believe in like Christian theism to understand that that argument has some type of weight to it. Now you can debate whether it's a good argument or not. Like that's where the discussion would be. But I think a lot of people who have your worldview are fair to write off other religions because like you said, they seem absurd or like very man-made. And I think those are fair criticisms. Like if you look at Islam or whatever it is, but I think that's fair. But I think that's easier to do than to shrug off like ultimately the ultimate question of why is there something rather than nothing? And that's a harder question to ask. And I don't think someone's irrational for like assuming that maybe something caused this to happen. You know what I'm saying? Like
it seems to me that probably what you're trying to say is that based on your analysis, okay, about what you see in reality in the universe and everything around us, you feel that you have come to a very close conclusion that a creator created all this in a logical way. Am I wrong or am I correct in my assessment? Yes.
Yeah.
So there's something about that I call proximity, how close you are to the truth or to the conclusion that you find God. And you could be maybe 70%, 80%, that you think that you're close into the truth and to the conclusion that God is the creator or there's a creator of the universe. But you still could be wrong.
Yeah, of course. I'm not saying I know for like 100% proof. I'm just saying the argument to the best explanation. I'm trying to find the best explanation that corresponds to the data I'm presented. There's a chance I could be wrong, just like you are. I mean, that's just the reality of like epistemology. We can't have 100%, clear proof for everything, for pretty much almost all things. I think a lot of people have like that's kind of been demonstrated a lot to people, but like for what the way I perceive the data and arguments I presented in the way that I view the world, it seems like it would be a little irrational to look at the way that the world is, how it formed, how the universe is like almost devoid of life besides our planet, and for that to happen in the way that it did seems really like mathematically astronomical, and it would, to me, it would push me into the position to believe, okay, potentially it seems like maybe there's some like deliberate action here. It doesn't mean therefore there is, but that's just like where it makes sense to me. And there's like a lot of evidence that supports that.
What?
Just like, like the and that was me trying to give some type of idea or justification or way I think that. But if I, let's say I asked you in the reverse, what justifies your belief in like atheism or agnosticism, I don't think you could do it. I think because it's hard, and
Yeah,
this is the ultimate question of
so
life.
yeah, so I'll answer your question, but I wanted to let you finish what you were going to say.
Yeah,
I wanted to
yeah.
ask you, in your logical assessment and your logical, thinking about creation, what are you trying to achieve?
I want to like understand where I fit into the world. I want to understand where I
Well,
am. It's
What
more of
what
a
what
curious,
for?
just the pursuit of knowledge.
What for?
I would basically, I think it's just going to eventually go to like a primitive where it's like you might not consciously know exactly every reason. Um, it just kind of like is for me. There's not like I'm not motivated by like a desire of like wanting a specific emotion or thing out of it. It's
Really?
just no, not purely. Of
But
course, it affects it,
yeah,
but it's not ultimate.
to me, it doesn't look that way. It seems to me that if for you to get into all these problems and of thinking and coming to conclusions and debating and engaging in these deep conversations, you must have a good motivation. Some people don't care about this. They're not motivated enough to go through this logical reasoning. So you must have a motivation.
Well, like everybody's motivated by things, and I'm not saying that it's right for them to be motivated by the way things I am, or it's right or wrong. I'm not making like a moral judgment. It just, I think a lot of people are motivated by a lot of different things, and it doesn't always have to be like, I think in the way that you're thinking of it, where it's like it seems like it's very reductive and simplistic. Like you act because you feel. I mean, yeah, that's kind of obvious, but there's a
Yes.
lot more nuance. There's more nuance there, and that's just a very reductionist view. It's very reductive.
Can you mention one? Just one?
One what? Like reason we act that's
No,
not
no. In
emotional?
your case, what motivates you to do this research about the truth about the creator?
The reason why I like am motivated to research like the things I believe about the world and to understand it comes from, I think, a place of the world is confusing, and I want to make sense of that because it'll
God,
be less.
God, I'm
Well,
sorry.
well,
God.
oh, well, the same thing. It's like, okay, the unit, like I live in the universe. I know it came into existence some way. I would like to know or have the best um conclusions about that so I can understand the world that I'm in better. It helps me make better decisions in my personal life with friends and family. Like, like let's say hypothetically, like we both don't believe this, but let's say if Islam was true, well, there would be a lot of motivations to follow it if it was true. And if like say I went on a search and found out that it was, it would provide a lot of like utility. It would benefit me. There would be a lot of like other motivators. It's like it's just a complex kind of thing. But for me, it's just like mhm.
Sorry, do you pray to the creator? Do you have
No, no,
any, you
no,
don't approach
no,
in any way the creator?
no, 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 no.
So you don't believe in a personal God?
Yeah, I don't think it's personal. I don't think it's not the way that Muslims or Christians would define God is. For me, it's just a mind that created the universe,
Okay,
that had
so
some intention
right,
to do that.
so if I understand correctly, you don't think that feelings have to do or relates to truth, right?
No, like feelings help you motivate you to do things,
Mm.
but regardless of feelings, some things are true independent of that.
So let's say that you find the truth.
Mm-hmm.
What are you gonna do with your feelings in that moment? You're not
Well,
gonna.
let's say if I found like the ultimate truth,
Yes. You're
what I
gonna
would
have.
feel
Are you
in the
gonna have?
moment.
Are you gonna have no feelings whatsoever? Are you not?
No,
Are you?
you'll
Are,
have feelings. Of course, I'll have feelings, but it doesn't change the reality if something is true or not.
but then, how do you know
It
is the truth?
based on like the empirical data that's been presented or the argumentation. It's like if I'm holding an apple and I show you the apple and I say there's an apple and you see it, you know there's an apple.
So
You're gonna have feelings about me showing it to
no,
you.
no, no.
Mhm.
Let me explain my view.
Go ahead. Yeah.
There's absolutely no possible way for you to determine something without your feelings. No possible way as a human being, because it only will be data without value.
Yeah. So are you basically just saying value is subjective, and so truth is subjective because value is subjective?
I always have to look at things, reality, life, truth, whatever you want to call it. Okay. For me, it's just data. You want to call something truth? It's just data. Because if it has no usable thing for me or for any other human being, and nobody cares about this God, who's going to call them the truth? It could be the truth. Nobody cares. So for us, humanity, who cares about the truth? Nobody cares, man. Call it Pizza Hut. Call it
I think a
banana
lot of people
split.
care about truth, though. I think a lot of I get it, but I think a lot of people care about truth.
I
A lot
think
of people
what I'm trying to say, people care about finding treasures. And the truth of God is one of them. It's just another treasury. Treasure.
Well, I can understand, like, from your perspective that you think people are motivated by their feelings and stuff to arrive at conclusions. I'm not totally disagreeing with that. Like, people do that. But I'm saying, regardless of like how I feel or you feel, there are some things that are stance independent. Like the sun exists
Yes.
regardless if you think it doesn't or not, or I don't. There is a
Yes.
truth to that it exists.
Yes.
So
I agree with
that's
that.
like, yeah. So, but at times it feels like you don't, because then you're saying, well, truth is like subjective,
But
or like
what do you,
feelings, or
yeah, what I'm saying with that, curse buddy, is what do you do with that piece of information? What do you do with that? Okay, the sun is there, regardless of my belief or not. So,
yeah. Well, did you find out the sun exists, that will motivate your behavior because it impacts you. Just
wait a
like if God
second.
exists.
No, no, wait a second. You brought me back to the picture.
Wait, say again. I'm sorry. Maybe I misunderstood.
You put me back in the picture with the sun. Take me out of the sun. It doesn't matter if I believe or not, or if I'm dead or alive. The sun is going to be there.
Yeah. So that's independent.
Yes, so that's the truth, right? But so what the change it has in my life to come to the conclusion that the sun is going to be there? Believe me, I believe it or not. Is it going to
So
change
basically,
anything?
you're saying just because the sun is, like, why am I motivated to feel any way about it?
No.
Okay. Maybe I'm just not tracking you. I'm trying my best to understand.
Yeah, so people say all the time when they talk to me, the truth, Javier, the truth, the truth, the truth. So your truth is that God is the creator of the universe. No, I'm not saying you, okay? I'm saying a caller.
Yeah.
Okay, Javier, independently, if you believe it or not, that's the creator. I'm like, okay, all right, I'll accept it. So, Javier, the sun is it doesn't matter if you're dead or alive or believe it or not, the sun is there. I'm like, okay, I'm with you. So,
yeah. So then we like agree then. So then we agree. Then
yeah. So what's next?
Once you understand that, you can make decisions based on that information. You have free will or ability.
Wait a second. I don't know if you noticed what you're doing.
Are you saying that once I
bring
have the
no,
information, then
wait. You bringing the human back in the picture. What for?
Well, because you asked me a question of like, what am I supposed to do once I know that information?
You have to bring a human being back in the picture to make sense of this truth.
Well, humans are going to evaluate their sense data.
Yes.
Of course.
Yes.
But let's say if there are no humans to evaluate sense data, the sun would still exist.
Yes. 100%. I agree with you.
So it's the truth doesn't change.
Yes.
At all.
Yes.
So I just don't understand what the point you're making is. Maybe
you're
just saying like once we have the truth, then humans have to make sense of the truth.
No. When have I talked about truth? The only thing I told you about truth is that I'm ignorant.
Okay. Well, okay. So you're ignorant of the truth.
I'm ignorant about anything.
So like you like a global skepticism? You can't know anything? Is this just like sophism? Like I'm just trying to understand.
I think you're trying to respectfully to force this into the direction of truth.
Well, you're making a truth claim. That's the thing. Your truth claim is that all people are motivated by their emotions and desires. You're making a truth claim. That's
not a truth.
Okay, then what are you saying? Because then it makes no sense that you can't argue.
That is my view about how we human beings operate.
Is your view true or false?
I don't know. It seems to me that is very accurate.
So it seems true. You think it's true.
Call it whatever you want. Call me whatever you want.
I'm asking you what you call it. Like
I call it an accurate view about a human being and how a human being operates.
Yeah, an accurate view is a synonym for something is true.
No, I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
Yeah, but then how is it accurate? How are you saying it's accurate if you don't know that it's accurate?
Because, I repeat, I see it, my view, as being quite accurate about how a human being operates, and I still can be wrong.
Yeah, that's fine. That's like we both agree that's every view possible, every view ever is that. But the question is, you are making a truth statement, whether you want to acknowledge it or not. You're saying humans act in this way.
Yes.
And that is true that they act that way. So you're saying independent of how I feel about it, you feel about it, humans act this way?
Yes.
How are you using your same argument? Humans are going to have to be around to interpret that.
Yes.
Okay. Do you see the circularity in like your position at all? Like do you not see the problem here? If you're saying that true statements are dependent on human beings, but your statement is a truth statement about all human beings, which is a universal truth statement.
I'm not calling it truth. You're calling it truth.
You said it's accurate, which means it's accurate to what? Reality.
Curse boy, I notice what you're doing right now. You're trying to force a direction of my view into something
I'm not trying to do that.
That makes sense to you. I feel that I'm quite accurate about my view that human beings operate under data, feel, and actions. And I still could be wrong, and that's why I have live streams to people push back on what I'm saying, because I still could be wrong.
Yeah, and I think that's an honest position. I think that's honest, and I think that's fair. But what I'm like, when you say something is accurate, you're saying it's accurate to something. So are you saying it's accurate to reality, or it's accurate to what?
It's quite accurate, not entirely accurate, because probably I will not be calling it accurate. I will be calling it truth, and it's not. Well, I see it as quite accurate that we humans operate under these conditions with these properties.
Okay. So I'm just gonna read the definition of accurate. Maybe we're just confusing each other. So accurate means free from mistake, errors, defects, and conforming exactly to truth or a standard. Do you not mean that then?
And what's the meaning of quite accurate?
Not 100% perfect.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So you're saying that you think it's like 99% accurate, but there's a 1% possibility it's not true.
I haven't put a number, probably 70%, 80%, 90%.
Okay.
But just
Like
by
70% true kind of feeling? Or like
no, 70% accurate.
okay, 70% accurate. Okay. What is that 70% tracking to? That's the question I'm asking.
So for example, I know that you have thoughts.
Do you know that? How do you know that?
Because I also have them and we're both human beings.
This is a very funny philosophical problem that people don't grant that assumption.
All right, so I could be wrong, right?
Yeah,
that's,
okay.
That's why it's not 100%.
Yeah, okay. I'm just making sure I'm gonna. Yeah. I'm just making sure I understand you. I'm just making sure. So you're saying 70%. You think this tracks? You think this is accurate 70%? And there's there's a chunk of there's like 25% or 20% of something where it could be wrong. So, but you're saying the 70% you think is true because it corresponds to reality. You think, I think that's something that happens in reality. You're human, I'm human, and you're able to draw the conclusions from reality. And that's what makes something more accurate than inaccurate. Does that make sense? Or am I close?
No, I have to make some corrections.
Okay,
you asked me a question and I started telling you that I haven't put a number on it. And I don't call it truth. And you asked me, but what is the number? I told you, okay, just to bring a number, make it 70 or maybe 80. I don't know, maybe 85, maybe 90, or maybe 60.
Okay, so when you're saying something is close to accurate, what do you mean?
What are you focusing on that? Because it seems you're focusing on me and not on what I'm trying to communicate.
I'm trying to understand your view of. So you're saying something is like you're making a claim that people believe in God because they have like emotional states that they're trying to fulfill. They're afraid of death. They're afraid of things. And that's why humans act in this way. That is a truth claim. That is a claim about reality. And that involves that claim to be true or false.
Yes.
So when I'm asking you, what makes something true, you can't skip that step. That's the most important step because a religious person will have a different answer. A Christian will have a different answer. A Muslim will have a different answer. But like they have to give an account. You have to give an account or a justification for truth.
Oh yeah.
Otherwise, you can't argue.
Yeah. So the difference is that I can demonstrate it.
Okay. So empiricism, if you can demonstrate something empirically, therefore it's true. Because it corresponds to reality.
No, it can demonstrate that it's quite accurate.
How do you demonstrate something is quite accurate?
I can demonstrate it to you right now.
Are you using your empirical faculties to do that with speech?
Yeah, if I point you to the sun, I tell you that there's a sun out there and I can point you to the sun. That is empirical, what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
I'm trying to demonstrate something to you. I mean, this sounds to me that we're doing the Jordan Peterson. What do you mean by day? Good day?
No, it's no. It's not that. No. I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna do that to you. That's so stupid. No. I'm not trying to say. What do you mean by every single word? I'm not gonna. That like Jordan Peterson does that to like an insane extent. It's like when somebody asks him, "What do you think day means?" He's like, "Well, what do you think? Day could mean anything." It's like, no, I'm not. No. That's I think. Jordan Peterson, when he does that, he's just being dishonest. Like when people directly ask him questions, he's just not being honest. But what I'm asking you is, because it could be any claim. Like try to forget the claim that we're mainly talking about, and maybe we can connect more. Because I think I am understanding you, but you might not understand what I mean. Like, let's let's say we're talking about like sheep, okay? And you tell me sheep exist, and I say sheep don't. And then you say, well, I can demonstrate it to you. We go to like a meadow, we see a bunch of sheep in the field, I can touch one, I could like cut some of its, fur off, I can make a jacket out of it or whatever. You know what I mean? Like I can interact with it with my sense data. Okay, with my eyes, my ears, or whatever. And you're saying, see, sheep are real, sheep exist because it corresponds to the reality we're both in. And therefore you're saying it's true, sheep exist. Are we on the same page now? Like, do you agree with that?
I think the healthier conclusion would be that we both conclude that we can both see the same shape, we can touch the same texture, and we're gonna agree that we call this a sheep.
Okay. Well, okay. So, but the reason we can agree on it is because we're both experiencing it in reality, right?
Yes.
Okay. So something is true if it corresponds to a shared reality.
Sure.
Okay, great. Okay, so great. We're on the same page now. So, okay, that's kind of what I'm trying to communicate is when you say something is accurate, you're saying the reason it's accurate is because humans act this way. I can show you their behavior. I can show it how you do it. I can show how I do it. And therefore, because I can demonstrate this, it's accurate.
Quite accurate, yes.
Yeah, quite accurate. Not 100%, but okay, it's quite. So the way that you evaluate something is if it corresponds to the reality you're in. So let's say if I did the same thing, but with God. And let's say I was able to say, okay, let's go, bro. Me and you, we're going to go to the moon, and God has a house there and he's just chilling. And we're going to go hang out with him. And I built us a rocket and we go there and you talk to him and I talk to him. We all hang out. Would you say God exists then? If I could like physically show him to you, like, would you say, yeah, God exists because it's in reality?
I think it depends on the person. In my case,
just you specifically. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the definition of the God that people were talking about aligns with this guy that I have in front of me. Yes.
Okay, so then you would say God exists if you could empirically like see him.
Yeah.
Hey,
just to follow along with the example, yes.
Okay, so yeah, okay, so okay, so and I think that's fair and that's reasonable. So then my question would be is if God, the way God is defined is God is a mind, okay? In reality, minds exist. My mind exists, your minds exist. There's empirical sense data for that. You're able to experience your own and others. That exists in reality. God is a mind. He can exist. Then what makes you think his mind can exist in reality? You have sense data that does that. So what makes it why is it okay for you to accept my mind exists in reality but not his? I know that's a weird question, maybe, but
yeah, I don't have anything right now that points to a God or a mind of God or of any God. Nothing to relate to a God. Nothing that convinced me of a God. No.
Do you think that like when you look at the universe and you see how complex it is, all the stuff around you, it doesn't give you a moment of pause of like, wow, there seems like a lot of intentionality here. It seems like a lot of things were set up in a way to produce life. Do you ever have that thought?
I don't have to go that far. I just have to look into my own eye and my hands and my body, and I can see design and programming.
So programming, so if you see programming and design, wouldn't that kind of imply that there is maybe some mind behind that programming?
There's a possibility. There's a possibility that there's a creator. There's a possibility that there are two creators. There's a possibility that there's a society of creators. And there's a possibility that we are made by aliens, and there's a possibility that we are a version of ourselves that we created in
Yeah.
some other, way.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's
this is
true.
a
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm. Yeah, but we're going to go with the one that is would be more likely to
Mm,
correspond to
mm,
reality.
what would that be?
Well, if your standard of truth is something that corresponds with reality, it wouldn't make sense to believe in like magical pixie fairies because there's no evidence of that in reality. But for minds, there is empirical evidence for minds. There is the real minds exist in reality, and God is a mind. So it's
Whoa!
more likely than unlikely.
I noticed you said God is a mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wouldn't that haven't you moved yourself right now into the realm of believing?
Well, I don't understand what you're
Yeah.
asking. What do
Can
you
you
mean?
demonstrate that God is a mind?
Oh yeah. Okay. So for things to have intentionality, a mind has to be in play. Would you agree with that?
In play?
Maybe let me try to phrase it better. Um, would you say a rock is a mind?
No.
No. Okay. You would say a rock is not a mind because it doesn't imprint itself on the world. It doesn't have intentional states. It doesn't have a will. It doesn't possess certain properties or essences. It doesn't have those qualities. But a god has those qualities is what I'm saying. So if
Mm,
for when you look at the universe, things are designed to have life. There's life. Things are tuned in a way for those things to happen. And those things, the way if something is coded or designed, can't just arise out of blind randomness. There's intentionality. And if
mm-hmm.
something's intentional, and the only evidence that we have of intentionality are minds, that's the empiricism we have. When you do something, it's intentional. You have an emotional state, you have a choice, you do something, and that's based on what we can observe. So it seems therefore it's likely that it's the same thing. Like if we can observe something intentional in the universe, and all things that have intention are minds, it just would just make it would probabilistically just therefore it probably is one.
Yeah.
It doesn't
So
mean for sure,
yeah.
but
So
it
let's say that I agree with you. Like everything looks like it was like created. I see design. I see
mhm,
programming. I don't think this came by itself or done by nothing.
mhm.
Maybe you're right. Maybe it was done by a creator. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we still both can be wrong.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, there's always that possibility where wildly we could be like in a simulation and like anything is possible.
But
But I'm just trying to look at something the likelihood
I would like
or
to add
something.
something if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
On the mind of the believer or the person that is trying to figure this out, it doesn't matter if they're wrong, right, or if there's a God or not. The
Well,
feeling, the feeling of approximation to the truth feels great.
yeah, but it would matter if let's say it would matter if it's something is true if it affects the agent. Let's say the ancient Egyptian gods are right hypothetically. Well, that would matter because it would affect you, and not just in this life, but in the next, and so on and so on. So it would be important for you personally because you probably have your own emotional states and desires and things you want. And to achieve those things, you'd have to take that into account because it's going to affect you. You know what I mean?
Hmm?
Same if way of Christianity is true or Islam or whatever. It's going to affect the way that you act or feel about stuff because um, let's say if like Islam is right, like we better start praying because we're going to end up in hell if we we're not going to make it. And if you care about yourself and you don't want to experience that amount of pain or suffering, it motivates you to not be Muslim. It motivates you to be Muslim. You know what I'm saying? If that's true, I don't think it's true. I don't think you think it's true either. But that's like my like example there. Like it would motivate you to
I,
feel like, oh shit,
I
like I need to
think
do something.
I think that the example of people believing in different gods, different entities, I think it's a good example that we're not talking necessarily talking about gods. People switch gods like it's changing underwears. It doesn't matter. Or they change denominations because the most important thing is not the God. It's how the person feels about their beliefs about the God.
Yeah, for like motivations, yeah. Like if somebody, like let's say if we knew for 100% fact like Christianity is true, let's say if that was the case, no one can make anybody do anything if they don't want to do it. I mean, if that's what you're saying, I think I agree with that. You can't make someone like believe something or act in a way. They have to be motivated by themselves. But it just doesn't change the fact of the matter that like Jesus is like would be God or something. If like we could, if that was true or whatever. You know, same for Islam or whatever.
So if someone tells me that they feel good coming to the conclusion that Jesus was a real person and was God incarnated, I'll be like, man, amen, amen. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't care. But I can see that these persons feel very good about their beliefs.
Yeah, but it's not just about the feeling. It's about if that is like what corresponds to reality. If Jesus is the God of the universe and that corresponds to the reality, it's not just like, oh, it feels good to know. It's like, oh, now that I know this, this affects how I understand everything and what my place in it is, how it's going to affect me, what I ought and ought not do. Do I want to go to heaven? Do I not want to go to heaven? It just affects how your emotional states and how you act on them. But like the fact of the matter is that would still be true, and I agree with you. We can go, ooh, cool for you, bro. Like I don't feel that way, but if you do, but if it's true regardless of what you feel. You still are gonna feel like you're gonna feel whatever, but it doesn't change the fact of the matter. Like if I can prove that Jesus rose on the third day, it's like you can feel any way you want about it. So could I. But me and you would both have to deal with the reality of it.
Yes, but you can do that with anything.
Well, that's just how truth works.
Yeah. It's a bicycle, a motorcycle.
No, because
it's a Hawaiian pizza, pepperoni pizza.
No.
So you can do this with anything. You don't have to do it with a God.
No, but there's a truth there. There's a P and not P there. What a pizza you have to make that statement. Pizza has to exist in reality. So pizza corresponds to reality. I mean, it's just about really. It's like I would recommend maybe like looking more into like just how like epistemology, just how you know something, and just like think about that. That's just like
let me ask you something. Is there anywhere in the universe, in the eternity, and I'm asking a question, anywhere in the universe or anywhere in eternity that Hawaiian pizza is not Hawaiian pizza?
I'm kind of confused on what you're asking. Are you saying like, is there anywhere where Hawaiian pizza doesn't exist? Is there a world where it doesn't exist?
Is there anywhere in the universe, in creation, where Hawaiian pizza is not Hawaiian pizza?
Well, we know some things are true by definition. So it would like, I would say no to that because some things are true by the way that they're like defined in the way that we use words. Like a car is a car because that's what we defined a car as. The car exists objectively, but the semantics we use to describe the car or what we use the word are like human constructs, but the car exists objectively.
Yes, but when it comes to God, aren't you defining God?
I'm not like making up a definition. I'm looking at the reality I'm in, and I'm like, things with intention require a mind. The world has intention.
You're literally coming to a conclusion, to a definition about God. You could be wrong.
Yeah, I'm not denying that I'm possibly could be wrong, but it's more of like the probability of me being wrong is what we're debating. Yes. Yeah, is that what we're debating?
Yes. So I don't see the benefit of calling the truth when you can be wrong.
So like, are you just, this is where it feels like that just leads to like global skepticism. Do you know what that is?
Yes. So I mean, when someone tells me this, I'm like, look, have you met God? No, but no, Javier, you don't understand what God is. God is a spirit. Oh, okay. So we're never gonna meet him. All right. So, but you know this truth. But how do you know? Because I analyzed the Bible and I came to the conclusion, looking at reality and coming to the logic, scientific conclusion that there's an impossibility that this universe couldn't come by itself or from nothing. So, therefore, there must be a creator, and that is the truth. If you believe it or not, Javier, that's still a conclusion that that person came to, and can still be wrong.
Yeah, just like your conclusions. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
That's just how it works. Yeah, I agree.
That's why I don't call anything I say truth.
So you would just say that it's something isn't true, it's just probable.
Yes, I could be wrong about everything I'm saying. So some people say,
could you be wrong about the statement that you just made though? Do you see how that's like kind of funny?
I could be wrong about everything I'm saying. I could be wrong about that too. Yes.
Yeah, this is what we call in philosophy global skepticism. And I recommend just looking into that idea and just like think about it, because this is something people do believe. Or have come to that conclusion. Like if you know about like Socrates or Aristotle, like they talk about
what will be the opposite?
People who believe that there is like truth, like people who would believe that there's
you know, if someone tells me global skepticism or the opposite, I'm like, man, well, whichever you want to call it. Call me global skepticism.
It's not like a negative judgment. It's just like you've kind of like the sophists in like, you know, Plato's dialogues, or like in the Republic, or in like where Socrates are talking about it, where it's like they go to Socrates like, we can't know anything, and then so you know, that's what a lot of them say, like, and they kind of say similar stuff to you, similar things you said, and then Socrates asked this question, which I'm going to ask to you. He says, how do you, if you're saying we can't know anything, how do you know that? Do you know that from your not knowing?
No, but you know, I'm not a global skepticist or whatever you call it. I know one thing. I know that I'm very ignorant about a lot of topics. I know something. So that doesn't apply to me.
Oh, well, you're okay, but you know that because it's true, right?
Yes. I feel that is truth. My view is that it's true that I know nothing about space rockets. I don't know anything about certain topics. I'm learning about some other topics.
Well, yeah, and just because you don't know doesn't therefore mean space rockets don't exist.
You're switching between one thing and the other. If I don't know if you have noticed.
Well, you're kind of making an argument from ignorance.
There's things that I know, and you're calling me a global skepticist.
Maybe when I bring up global skepticism, okay, I'm not saying you are. It came, like I said, it comes across that way. Like at times you say, it seems like we can't know anything for certain. There's no way to know anything.
No, I never said that.
Okay, and then that's just my mistake.
If you're gonna call God the truth and not your truth, I'm like, man, that sounds to me a little bit arrogant. I'm not saying you're being arrogant. Don't take it personally.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah.
You know, but to me, it's like, man, you know how many people tell me, Javier, the truth. You don't accept the truth. I'm like, what is your truth? That Jesus is God. I'm like, okay, all right.
Well, yeah, you just don't accept. Yeah, you just don't accept what they think the truth is what you're saying.
I'm not interested. I know that they're saying that for emotional reasons, not because
would you let's hypothetically say it was true. Would you be interested then if it was demonstrated to you that it was true? Would that motivate you in any way?
You know, I even give the people the opportunity. I ask them, hey, you telling me that Jesus spoke to you last night? What did he tell you? And when they tell me what Jesus told them,
Yeah, no, I get
love
that.
you. I love you. He told me I love you.
Yeah,
So,
but no, like
something.
I'm saying, like let's say if like you met Jesus tonight, hypothetically, would that like motivate you to be like, oh, okay, well, this is true, and I believe this now, and I'm gonna be a Christian. Would that change your mind at all? Would that make you do anything? Or
There's more probability if there's a person going hospital to hospital, getting people off their beds or dying beds and fixing them or healing them in one spot. I'll be interested. Or being people safe in earthquakes and stuff like that, the kids not dying. That will cut more of my attention and not someone telling me, Javier, the truth, the truth.
Yeah. So let's say it's like you went to a hospital and you watched like kids get immediately cured of cancer or their legs grew back from amputation. Would you be like, oh, wow, this is true?
No,
Okay. So what would be your standard then?
that could be
What would convince you?
witchcraft.
Yeah. So, but like, what would convince you then if that won't?
I will not get convinced. I would ask questions, sir. How are you doing that? Do you mind my asking? Probably he tells me, well, that's the power of the Lord. I'll be like, oh man, you caught my attention. What Lord are you talking about? And we go from there. But I'm not gonna jump like a swimming pool, like coming to a conclusion.
No,
that's the Lord
yeah.
and my Savior.
But yeah, you're gonna be more tentative. You're gonna be like, okay, well, like that. This is interesting. Like, I'm not sure if I'm fully convinced yet, but like, this is something I need to take into account and think about. And then you would kind of arrive at that position.
No conclusions. I'm very careful about coming to a conclusion and start calling things truth because I could be absolutely wrong and then go some other way that has nothing to do with reality.
And I think that's fair and that's reasonable. I don't think you're being like irrational for being like cautious because you could be wrong and you don't want to say like some crazy thing and then it be wrong and you do something or something happens kind of. You want to be careful. And I think that's fair. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I'm just trying to understand how you think, I guess, is really a lot of my questions were. Just trying to understand you. You seem like a really smart and nice guy and like a reasonable person. So I'm just like, when you say certain things, I'm like, okay, well, like, I feel like my experience of certain things may be different or the way I view it. And maybe like I could learn something from you too. Maybe I'm thinking of something in a weird way.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yes, thank you for your kind words. Let me tell you something, cursed body.
Mm-hmm.
Everything you have told me, you're wrong.
Okay, based on.
You're just wrong.
Based on what though?
You're wrong.
Is this like the childhood playground? Nuh-uh. Nuh-uh.
No, you see me smiling? You hear me laughing? I'm telling you, you're wrong.
Yeah. I think you're wrong about me being wrong.
I'm just kidding. Hey,
I know.
What I'm trying to do here, I mean, I think you're very reasonable. You keep cool. Some people, I get them into a negative feel state.
Yeah.
And they're going to desperately try to move into a positive feel state, probably by offending, calling names, calling you fool.
Well, like people are doing that because they're insecure and they can't defend their ideas. Even if like I think like you did great. Like I think if more people could have a conversation like this is good, even if we may disagree. Like you didn't get mad at me and scream at me, and I didn't do that to you. Even though we challenged each other, about maybe like I think that's the better approach. That's just I think we agree like on that.
Yes, and of course you're not wrong about anything you said. I could be wrong about everything I said. That's why we have these conversations and respectfully. And I really appreciate you coming tonight. And now you're unmuted, so you can come anytime you want. Okay.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I really appreciate it. Can I ask you like one just random like not different question that's not about this specifically?
Sure.
Oh, where are you from? If you say where you're from, are you from like America? Are you from like what time zone are you in or something? So like if I catch the stream again or.
Yeah, believe it or not, I was born in the States, but I live right now in Panama and have lived in Panama most of my
Oh, that's
life.
cool.
I'm in Central America, yes. It's
Yeah, my
almost
wife's
9 o'clock
family's
here.
going there on a vacation soon. That's actually super cool.
Going where?
They're going to Panama. Like,
Oh, really?
yeah, they're um my wife's father, he does like beekeeping kind of stuff, and there's like something he's going there down there that has to do with bees,
Mm.
or something like that. I don't really remember exactly everything about it there. There's like Africanized bees that are there, and he like keeps up with hives there or whatever, but they go there for like trips or something. So yeah, that's cool. I heard it's really nice there. It's a really nice place to live.
Yeah,
At times.
you guys going to a place called Chiriquí, which is a really, really nice place, and it's the temperature is lower than here in Panama. In the city, man, it's really hot, really humid, and right now it's raining a lot.
Yeah, that doesn't sound fun. Yeah, humidity is terrible, bro. Humidity is awful. So
Yeah, and here in the midday, man, you cannot be under the sun. You're gonna be sweating like a pig. I mean, it's really,
yeah,
really bad.
yeah. But yeah, super cool. It was really nice to meet you. What was your name again?
Javier, or clear waters, or stinky waters, or murky waters. I have all kinds of names.
Well, it was really nice to meet you, Javier. My
Nice to
name's
meet
my
you.
name's Josh. My name's Josh.
Nice to
So
meet you.
I'll,
Thank
I'll
you so
jump in
much.
from time to time and like ask you questions maybe again. It was really nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you. Thank you.
Good, nice to meet you. Bye bye.
Well, that was an interesting conversation. Thank you so much to Josh. Well, there's a person coming in and out. I don't know who that is. So probably someone wants to talk. Just go ahead, connect. Let me know who you are in the live stream and I'll let you in. That was an interesting conversation. Very respectful, man. You know, disagree totally, and we don't have to be yelling at each other, calling each other names. Very, very nice. All right, so let's go back to these messages now. We don't have any callers right now, so let's read some of your messages from the chats on both live streams, both streams. I'm streaming in vertical and horizontal streams. Horizontal for your TV, in case you want to watch me on your TV, hey. Or on vertical, so you can watch me on your phone. MC time, welcome to the live stream. I hate when theists ask what evidence you need. They just want to know the minimum proof required for you to surrender your money, your freedom, your family's safety, and your life. Wow. Interesting comment. Agent Smith. Welcome. Agent Smith writes, you either believe or you are not, but you certainly don't hold all the answers. Agent Smith from the Matrix wrote. Thank you, Agent Smith, for your comment. I agree. Yes. Del Toya, the Big Nick, Darth Gently, can't speak. Having a conversation, just in case you missed it, I made a presentation at the beginning of the live stream. First, asking a question, mainly, what do you feel from believing in God? I also presented another scene where I mentioned what some believers would ask or say. For example, what does God have to do with feelings? A believer would ask me, we are humans, we have feelings. What is the problem with having feelings for God? Why can I love God? Why can you not leave me alone with my God? Hey, can speak. And why does any of this have anything to do with whether God exists? Yep. In my view, believing in God has everything to do with your feelings and not necessarily a God. What are some of these feelings that you get from believing in God? Not from God, from believing. You feel love, you feel security, you feel hope, you feel meaning, purpose, feeling special or chosen, like when you're on a pedestal. You can get comfort during suffering, a sense of importance, when you get very eloquent on debates talking about God, you feel a sense of importance, a sense of being a better person than others, of course, again, the pedestal, and a sense that life has an ultimate explanation. All those have to do with feeling good. Now, when you get to believe in one of these gods, currently available gods, popular gods right now, those feelings make you feel good. No God involved. Just the feeling. That's all you need. So, part of my presentation, I asked believers, are you believing in God because God is real or because believing in God feels good? Believing in God, of course, feels good. It feels awesome. You don't need a God for that. You just need the feeling. So part of my presentation at the beginning, my view is that in order to reap the emotional benefits associated with believing in God, you only need to believe. You don't need God to be real. You don't even need to prove that God is real. What motivates a believer to believe in God is the positive feel state believing provides. No God or invisible entity is required. MacLeod W. Oh, writing something to MC Time. Thirsty. Those mini debates going on the chat section, interesting topics. Darth gently writes, I'd rather just respect life instead of making up a god in my head to worship instead. Or to make yourself feel good. But of course, if a human being doesn't find any value in believing in a god because the data of a god doesn't make sense, they're not going to believe. That's how humanity 101 is. Data, beliefs, data, feelings, and actions. By data only, you don't take action. By data and feelings, you take action. MacLeod W. writes, motivations is emotive usually. Yes, that's human nature, our spirit, but you don't need a motive to believe anything. You can simply believe something. Belief is a dishonest framing too. What? Yes, that's human nature, our spirit, but you don't need a motive to believe anything. I think the belief is the result of applying value to data. MacLeod W. also writes, you can recognize we are pattern finding machines. Recognizing a pattern is being competent with the pattern. It seems to me that finding patterns has to do with something that allows us to go from a negative feeling into a positive feel state. Like for example, when you know the terrain, yeah, you can have a more positive feel state in a terrain that you know or you're familiar with. That's what you're referring about patterns. Imagine if the mind or the brain presents to us something extremely complicated, you're not going to feel good. And that will put you in a negative feel state. So the mind is going to try to gather, or the brain is going to try to gather information in order to keep you or to move you into a positive feel state. Let's give me just one moment. Cita, ¿cómo está, abuelita, que la estoy llamando y no contesta? Para ver si Jorge Luis le llevó la sopa y está descansando. Wendy Kirkland, welcome. Did I see the blue moon? More signs in heaven. No, I haven't seen the blue moon. I'm doing here a live stream. Mr. Charles Oliver, threats and rewards based on claims of a spiritual realm. A realm they deny can be viewed accurately by anyone but them. NC Time is responding. Oh wait, Unseen 2. Everyone knows God exists through creation and their conscience. Our conscience tells us what's right and wrong, and if we didn't have that, there would be no sense of justice. Yeah, Unseen, I don't agree with you. I think it's a bit more complicated than that. Your explanation is very easy, very simple, but it doesn't make sense. In my view, it doesn't explain reality. NC Time at MC Cloud. I think you misunderstood. If God must fine-tune the universe to create anything, how can any existing structure or order occur without prior fine-tuning? Interesting question. McLeod W writes, "Bruh, you need to recognize a pattern before you can feel about it." So feeling doesn't make you recognize patterns. In my view, MC Cloud feeling is that that takes a thought and brings it into reality or an action. Feel. So in order to do anything in this life, you need data in your mind or a brain, and you need feel. Otherwise, it would only be data. So a pattern, probably your mind is doing that or your brain. But applying value to that data is a process of feel. When the Kirkland Clearwaters, where's God giving self-fulfilling prophecies again? In my view, Wendy, there's no such thing as prophecies. They're not convincing. They don't sound coming from a God. All right, I'm back. All right, had to make a phone call. Well, not phone call. Sub messages. MC Cloud is right. I just completely dismantled your stance and you're skipping it. You get jump scared before you see the thing to scare you, because you can feel scared until you see the pattern. MC Clouded, I think in my view, this attaching value to data, of course, it can happen consciously or it can happen automatically. You know, like a phobia. You feel something. You feel fear about a piece of data, but your mind now knows what is supposed to feel from that piece of data, and it does it automatically. Same process, faster, automatically. Unseen 2 writes, I mean that God has written the 10 commandments on our heart. Oh, how cute. That sounds so romantic. He write it on our hearts. Which is why you can be an atheist but still be moral, and it makes you feel guilty. Unseen 2, you know, that sounds sweet, that sounds romantic, that sounds like it makes sense, but to you, it doesn't make sense to me at all. We don't know if a God is real. We don't know if the God of the Bible is real. It sounds to be made up. So we cannot jump to conclusions without first confirming a few things, So you could be absolutely wrong about what you're saying. But it doesn't matter, because if you heard the presentation at the beginning of this live stream, it doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. You still reap the benefits from believing in God. Jerry888, why do Christians misunderstand me? Jesus does not. Jerry, do you know my neighbor? My neighbor is Jesus. I don't know any other Jesus. So, that Jesus understands you? What are you talking about? Unseen, right? We are fallen creatures. No, unseen, we're not. You learn that, and you learn to say that. That's different. You could learn something and be 100% incorrect, which in my view, you are. Most likely. MC Cloud W, it does it automatically, but you claim that feeling guides pattern recognition. No, MC Cloud, no. Everything that has to do with data comes from the brain or the mind. I don't know which one or both. Then, because we have some field states already in our system, we're gonna compare that data to our field states. If we find some of this data of value, we're gonna use it to get ourselves from a negative field state into a positive field state. Unseen 2 is asking, do you think you're a good person? Unseen 2, do you think you're a good person? I think I'm a human being trying to live this life without hurting anyone and try to be happy with my family. So I'm trying probably naively to make a change, something better for this world. But I don't relate myself or calling myself good in relationship to an invisible entity from a foreign country like the God of Israel. Sounds to me extremely made up and problematic, because believing in God to me is problematic for humanity. Hey, Professor Hazel, welcome to the live stream. The Real Indiana Cons Brew. Man, that sounds like, I don't know, like a big humongous company. Maybe for a beer or something. The Real Indiana Cons Brew. Old Man FB writes, you're 100% incorrect. Most likely, a little contradictory there. Yeah, I think I corrected myself immediately. I don't have absolute truth about anything, so even myself, I could be incorrect. So, yes, I'm wrong about the person being 100% incorrect. Most likely, 100% incorrect. But not quite. MC Cloud W, that is correct. Our field state does not influence processing. It doesn't prove that we auto sort everything into illusion, much less specific illusions. I don't know, MC Cloud, it seems to me that up to a point, this gets into a self circle, data, field, action, then the action fits the data again, field, see value, take action again, you double check, it goes back in, your action goes back into to data for the brain. According to your action, then, reevaluate. You see value, feel, take action again. Spulapuhahuhahuhaha. Spulapuhuhuha. Spulapuhuha. Okay, it took me 3 minutes to understand its skeptic channel. All right. Yes, you guessed it correctly. I'm a doubter. I am not sure. I have many questions. I'm not a believer. I'm a human being. I like to ask questions. I don't like to jump too fast into conclusions. Sue Denim, didn't your God create life from dirt? That's a big nick. Noki 45 is asking who? Who? Now, I don't know why you're asking Noki 45. We're talking about what motivates. What is your motivation for believing in God? If you believe in one of these invisible entities. Yeah, it seems to me, in case you missed the presentation, that we're not talking about gods. We're talking about humans' feelings. We're talking about meaning in people's lives. We're not talking about gods. We're not talking about finding gods. We're talking about finding yourself in this life. So, for someone that believes in a God, they're probably doing it because of the emotional benefits you get from believing in supposedly the most powerful being in the universe, which can be of emotional benefit. No God required for your belief. So, if the God is real or not, it doesn't matter. You're already reaping the benefits, the emotional benefits from believing, and that's what matter. So you can use Allah, you can use the God of the Bible, you can use Olodumare, you can use Odin, you can use Buddha, you can use anything. Try to make it invisible, because that way you don't have to prove it to anybody. Suedenim, I found myself. Is this God I'm interested in? Is this God I'm interested in? Ooh, Suedenim. You are one of those gods. I care if it's true, not getting benefit from a lie. Well, some people like their lies. They get benefit from it. Some people say, I know that God is real. Now, how do I know? Because I know. And that's how I know. The Big Nick, for example, God is true to you. That is your truth. But it's not my truth, which doesn't make it the truth. But it's okay. It can be your truth, because you can find it to be true. ATP is a biochemical energy carrier. Explaining how living systems use it does not establish that God exists. It's a comment from the real Indiana Combs Brew. Spulapuhua writes, I was active pagan for 20 years. Now I'm a Lutheran. Man, I'm so sorry to hear that. I'm just kidding. Don't get upset. Spulapuhua continues to write, why? Reasons. I was also a doubter and searched for signs from God. Like, show me you are real and I believe. No, I got my answer after baptism. Spulapuhua. Don't take it as offense, okay? But most likely the only reason you're believing in one of these popular gods is because it makes you feel good. It gives meaning to your life. You don't need a God for that. You just need to believe that there's a God. And you will reap the benefits. Unseen 2 is asking a really good question. Do you believe in absolute truth? Believe in absolute truth. I don't know. That sounds like a contradiction. No, maybe not. Believe in an absolute truth. I think absolute truth are to be known, not to be believed. Because if you believe that, maybe you're not convinced that there's an absolute truth. I don't know. Sounds something weird about that question. And who cares about absolute truth, my friend? I have to take the garbage out. That's my absolute truth. Get the garbage out or it's gonna stink in my apartment. That's my truth. Laman de du di du di di deu. Lamani de diu. Laman, join a local church. It is good to follow sermons online, but that is not enough and cannot replace church life. So basically what you're saying, Lamane de diu, is that you feel good being a follower. Good for you, my friend. I am not a follower. Especially I don't follow toxic doctrines. Lamane Dadiu writes, Christ himself instituted the church. It will endure forever, and the gates of the realm of the dead will now prevail against it. Matthew 16:18. The church is the body of Christ. You don't know, Lamane, I don't know why you're celebrating this. You're a follower. We need leaders in this world. No more followers. If you're okay being a follower of some toxic doctrine, I think probably you're most likely an adult and you are free to do that. But we are trying to bring awareness to the problematic of being a follower of one of these doctrines that think or want to inject in your life the belief that there's an invisible entity from a foreign country that wants to love you and wants to have a personal relationship with you. And if you don't want to have a personal relationship with this invisible entity from a foreign country like Israel, then you will pay the price by suffering for eternity for being an insolent and not accepting God's love and protection. Sounds very loving to me. Unseen 2 is asking, is that true? Yes, I'll follow your game. Yes. Is that true? Yes, it's true. Whatever you want to call true. Laman is writing, join a local church where the word of God is faithfully preached so that you might fully live out your faith alongside other Christians. You know, Lamaneu, let me give you an applause. You have learned what other people are feeding you very good. You're a very good learner of what other people are telling you. Not what God is telling you, what other people are telling you. So apparently, for some reason, you're persuaded to believe what other people are telling you. No God involved. That's why you sound like a robot. Join your local church. Join your local church. Christ is King. Christ is King. God is real. God is real. You have to give it a little bit, you know. There you go. God is real. The church is the church of Christ. You're no longer yourself and someone else is talking to you. You're literally possessed by the spirit of other people talking through you. No longer you provide thoughts of your own. You don't have your own opinions. You're just the expression of a toxic doctrine. Spulapuha, oh well, toddler logic here. Have a nice day. Good luck with your toddler logic then. Probably make it grow up. Do-do-do-do. 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 Just in case you missed it, that is my view about believing in God or any God, or the emotional benefits you get from believing. Can speak 465 Clearwaters. I apologize for turning your chat into some weird narration. Man, you guys have fun. Get engaged in conversations. I don't mind at all. We don't have to talk about the subject. Whatever comes to you, that's fine with me. No problemo. Unseen 2 writes, have you lied, stolen, looked with lust, dishonor your parents, and used God's name in vain? Unseen 2, come on. You too? You're watching too much Ray Comfort. You're using Ray Comfort's script. Have you stolen? Have you have impure thoughts? Come on, you're just a sinner like anybody else. You're a dirty human and you need Jesus to fix you. So don't be asking other people if they're dirty. You're dirty. You're not special. I'm just kidding, Unseen. Probably you're a good person that for some reason were persuaded to get into this witchcraft. Before you were talking about family, work, your country, and now look at yourself talking about spirits, demons, sacrifices, bathing yourself in the blood of Jesus. asking people if they're liars or they're stealers, stolen something. What happened to you? What happened to the human being? What happened to the honest, transparent, decent human being? Now you are a believer in one of these invisible entities from a foreign country, like the God of Israel. Illyrian 08, I don't get it. Theists think that the only way for a human to fall in love with another human is for there to be a God involved. You need that God in there, man, because the God offers emotional benefits. So just in case you don't make it with your loved one, you have the God in there, man, to provide you with the good feelings. Out of Babylon, God is love, God is love, God is love, you are love. MC Cloud W. A lot of people does believe because of good feelings, as you say, but that isn't how it works. I don't get a good feeling from belief. I study and find it all self-consistent. And finding all self-consistent, doesn't that make you feel good? 100%. It has to do with feelings. There's no other way around it. Some people tell me, Javier, I know that God exists because the evidence is overwhelming. Don't tell me. You have come to the conclusion that God is real, and that makes you feel horribly bad, right? No, Javier, it makes me feel wonderful. Oh, thank you. It makes you feel good. Oh man, FB, really are the nativity stories in Matthew and Luke consistent? Ooh, asking good questions. Anything you know about God, MC Cloud W, it doesn't come from God. It comes from other people. Out of Babylon, love is not neuroscience. Out of Babylon, you know what God is not, and you know what God is, but no way of demonstrating it. That's interesting. MC Cloud W, I recognize your feelings-based model, but good feelings aren't the motivation. Any good feelings are incidental. Most of it is scary. I don't even eat spicy food. No pleasure there. MC Cloud, you yourself are giving an example of what I'm talking about. Motivation doesn't only come from feeling good. It could be from feeling bad, because something can push you to do something or pull you to do something. So you can try to test it, MC Cloud. Try to think of an example about life that you don't think that this what you call model applies. Can you come up with an example specifically? So you don't see spicy food as a source of feel good. You're not gonna move towards a spicy food. Very basic. Wow, 30 more minutes and we're done with this live stream. Wow, times go fast. MC Cloud W writes, but you will shoot back at claim that you know better to minds work and dismiss my claim that it isn't reward as a motivator. That's pure belief in my case, which is shitty. I understand your model. You have it embedded as a prior to things that is not prior to. You know, honestly, MC Cloud W, I don't understand what you're trying to say. You as a human being, you gather information, or your brain does. If the information has value, you will act on it. If it doesn't, you won't. MC Cloud W, pattern recognition precedes feelings. Yeah, sure, I call it data. Data without feelings doesn't have value. It's just data. It's like adding 1 plus 1 equals 2. It's just data. You don't get excited by that unless it's 1 million plus 2 plus $1 million, $2 million that you're gonna get. That has value. That will get you excited. MC Cloud W writes, and you feel after the info is gathered, you can just keep gathering info. Yes. MC Cloud, yes. The mind is gonna look for information based on your current feel states. So for example, if you eat spicy food, your mind is gonna recognize that you have a negative feel state right now, and your mind is gonna try to gather information to find you something to move you from a negative feel state, from that spicy food, into a positive feel state. And the mind already knows that that will be most likely something like water. So your mind is gonna try to get water, yes, to get you into a positive feel state. And in that process, from a negative to a positive feel state, you're gonna take action. Because you found the data, there's value in the data. MC Cloud W writes, we are agents and observers. We cannot process information. We can hold off on evaluation. It seems to me, MC Cloud, that the part as being observer is the mind. Excuse me. This is something about invisibility, like thoughts are invisible. And the only way you can bring these thoughts into reality is by the power of feel. You can take an action on this earth by data and feel, not by data alone. MC Cloud W writes, no, you don't look for information based on feel states exclusively, just commonly, habitually, sure. But if you are looking for bunnies and see a monster, you won't view the monster as a bunny. You are basically claiming that our emotive structure prevents rational use of information. Let me read your message again. You don't look for information based on field states exclusively. I have to agree with that. In a way. Just commonly, habitually, sure. But if you are looking for bunnies and see a monster, you won't view the monster as a bunny. You're basically claiming that our emotive structure prevents rational use of information. You know, MC Cloud, that will be like, for example, like I'm here doing a live stream and then an eagle shows up in my window. That doesn't relate specifically to my current field state or my mind or the information that I have right now. So data can come from anywhere. Doesn't have directly to relate to a field state that I have currently right now. But if I look to the window and I see that eagle standing on the window and I'm scared of eagles, yeah. You see what's going to happen next, right? Or the contrary, if I love eagles, I'm going to get excited and I'm probably going to approach the eagle. So my mind was not looking for eagles or a bird or anything, or to have an experience with something in that sense right now. I was just I was doing a live stream and suddenly I have an eagle on my window. Malaysia Forever 3280. We talking about Bonicula. Let me know what you think about this presentation, about this live stream. What is your motivation for believing in God? We're talking about feelings, not a God, in my view. And that is problematic. Because no God needs to be involved. So anybody can present to you a God. It doesn't have to be real. As long as the God feels good, you're going to believe and you're going to accept information associated with that God, probably without filter. And that is problematic. MC Cloud W writes, I agree that typically the hedonic treadmill motivates belief. I don't believe it is functionally required. MC Cloud, let me look for this hedonic treadmill. I like to learn things or remind myself of things. It sounds familiar. The hedonic treadmill or hedonic adaptation is the human tendency to quickly return to a stable baseline level of happiness after major positive or negative life events or purchases. Wow. Yeah, MC Cloud W. I don't understand that comment very well, but this is something that is very applicable. You can do it with people. I have mentioned on my live streams that I design a therapy. I call it the Shaolin therapy to help people with traumas get out of their traumas. Based on this information that I'm sharing with you. The mind automatically assigns feelings to data to try to protect you, to get you to continue being alive. So I noticed that if you're able to bring the data and the emotion to the surface, or the feeling to the surface, you can do some switching, you can disconnect, or you can bring a different association to that data, or just unplug it. That's it, disassociate it. Very interesting. It seems to me that these properties of the human being are done for a purpose. Seems to me that life is looking for something. If you don't think that life seems to be looking for something, try to stand against the wall, make it a white wall, and look at that wall for hours. Your mind and your entire being is going to scream at you to please do something. You're not supposed to stay still, to stand still, because life is going to remind you that you're supposed to be moving. You're supposed to be researching. You're supposed to be gathering information. You're supposed to be exploring. You're supposed to be expanding. And you're supposed to be discovering. Clearwaters, discover what? Really? I don't know. I think if I knew, I don't know, we would not have to discover it. I don't know. You are protected. Welcome to the live stream. Right, this applies to all things, money, cars, etc. Man, even to spouses. You know, finding that man or that woman. You gather information, you gather data, you like the woman's hair, her eyes, her perfume, you're gathering data, and suddenly you find value in this data about this woman, and suddenly you find yourself taking action towards this woman, and you ask her out. That happened only with data and feel. You are protected, writes, a Lamborghini is better than a Honda due to data and emotion, social norms, etc. This applies to a God. Yes, and sadly, also to human beings when it comes to relationships. Yes, you can have a man loving his wife or woman, and suddenly some other lady that produces different data, different feelings, the man takes action towards another woman, sadly. But I think if you understand how you operate as a human being and how your spouse or wife or husband also operates, I think you're in a better standing emotionally, knowing what could happen at any time. Because we're humans. Guardian M4 Browning 111. Discover more about God, about the Holy Spirit. I know, Guardian, there's people that need to feel good, so offer that God that is going to make them feel good. But of course, you don't have no God, but you can offer the belief, because you and me know that in order to believe in a God, you don't need a God. You just need the belief, and let the person reap the emotional benefits they're gonna get from believing, not from the God. Mr. Viking Lloyd, who else am I supposed to believe in? The human race? The question is, why do you need to believe in a God or a human race? What's going on in your life that you need to be looking for truth or a God to love you? That is the question, not that if God is real or not. Why are you looking for a God in your life? Are you in need of emotional protection? Do you feel vulnerable? Viking Lloyd is asking, who else am I supposed to have faith in? The government? Why are you looking for things to have faith in? What's going on in your life? Who persuaded you to think that life is about trying to find something to hang on to like an invisible God from Israel? Someone told you, hey, happiness in life is about believing in the God of Israel. If that's the case, you will ask the person, hey, God of Israel sounds like the God of Israel. I don't live in Israel. Mota. Why do you choose human being for God? What do you mean by that? Who's choosing a human being for God? Can you be more specific? Mota? Viking Lloyd, because the system is broken. Viking Lloyd, guess who broke it? We did. And that means that we can fix it. Don't rely on invisible entities for fixing anything, because look at the world, how it is right now. 10 more minutes and we're done with this live stream on this beautiful Friday night. Shayla Bahadur 3005. God believes in the humans, but humans don't believe in themselves nowadays. God has belief in humans. Which God? That sounds to me like made up or some wrong conclusion. Guardian M4 Browning. God is for you. He still loves you and wants to be more in your life, even if you make a million mistakes in all kinds. Guardian M, remember, I don't believe what you believe. I don't believe in the invisible entity from a foreign country like the God of Israel. The belief in God apparently makes you feel good, but to me, it has no value whatsoever, because I have come to the understanding that the God of the Bible is a made-up God, just like the thousands of other made-up gods that were invented at the time that this God of the Bible was invented. But you yourself don't care about that, because you're reaping the emotional benefits from believing that the most powerful being in the universe loves you, and that makes you feel good. You don't need a God for that. You just need the belief. Viking Lloyd, I don't believe in the Christian God. You believe in the voodoo God? Do you believe in the Santeria God? I'm just kidding. Mota Christian Church. Yeah, Motas. I'm trying to bring the, trying to have conversations about the problematic of believing in gods. Because whenever you believe in a God, you're basically a follower of someone else's thinking. And that's one of the problems that we have on this earth in humanity, is people being okay with being followers. If you're gonna believe in a God, believe in Chulum, the creator of the universe. In case you don't know who Chulum is, I show you who Chulum is. Look, Chulum is the creator of the universe. If you need a God in your life and you want to believe in a God, in an invisible entity, believe in Chulum. Why? Because with Chulum, you don't reap emotional benefits. There's no heaven, no hell. He's not gonna talk to you. You don't talk to him. He's not gonna going to interfere in your life. He's not gonna punish you. So, need a God in your life? Believe in Chulum, the only creator of the universe. Guardian from Brownie, you still get a like from me. Oh man. Thank you so much. That was so cute. Thank you. You'll get a heart from me, or a hug. Thank you. You made my night. I'm gonna sleep very well tonight. Guardian M gave me a like. Appreciate you. Thank you. Oh, Diva don't play. Javier, if there's thousands, then again, why is it you talk about the God of the Bible at like 90% clip? It is so obvious that the God of the Bible is real. Yes, the God of the Bible is real. You know why? Because the universe couldn't come up by itself, so it had to be made by the God of the Bible. And that's the same God that wants to have a relationship with you. And if you do not want to have a relationship with the creator of the universe that also wants to have a personal relationship with you, you are going to pay the price, since he's going to punish you for eternity because you decide not to love him, and that's going to be painful. So get off your booty and love the God, or pay the price, because we're talking about a very loving God. I think it's better to be honest, to be transparent, and to have some decency, in my view, instead of believing in invisible entities that are watching you, and he's gonna judge you because he loves you. Diva don't play. Javier, if Chulum doesn't talk or reveal itself to anyone, how do you know anything about Chulum? See, you believe in garbage. No, Diva don't play. You have missed those live streams where I tell people, and callers have asked me, how do I know about Chulum? Go back to the library and watch those live streams where I explain how do I know about Chulum very clearly. And Professor Hizzle. Professor Hizzle writes, Chulum speaks to us if we open our gallbladder to his message, man. Oh man, that was funny. All right. 4 more minutes and we're done with this live stream in this beautiful Friday night. Diva don't play, right, Javier? No, because you talk about him at a 95% clip. You strain my faith by your continuous talking about him. You talk about invisible entities, the same one every day. Diva don't play. If I'm cooperating to you feeling good about yourself, about this God. Man, give me an amen. Amen, brother. God is real. Opa. The God of the glasses of water. And whatever makes you feel good, my friend. If that's gonna make you feel good, I'll contribute to you feeling good about yourself, even when I think you're lying to yourself, but that doesn't matter because you're the one feeling the goodness, not me. All right, we're about to be done with this live stream. Those conversations going strong. Some mini debates going on. People trying to prove that God is real by using logic, by analyzing the evidence, and to coming to their own conclusion. And they can still be wrong. But it doesn't matter. I think it's about having conversations, expressing yourself, expressing your views. Shaile Bahador 3005 writes, being atheist, maybe you feel controlled. I don't know. I'm not an atheist. Maybe Shaile is talking about someone else because I don't consider myself an atheist. I consider myself a human being. Diva Don't Play Javier loves and cannot stop talking about invisible entities from foreign countries every day and night. If you do, why can't we? And anybody can adore, worship the devil if you want, if that makes you happy. You are an adult, you can make your own decisions. Like a friend of mine used to say, whatever tickles your pickle. If one of these popular gods right now, invisible god, makes you feel good, man, by all means, indulge yourself in the good feeling that you get from believing in one of these invisible entities currently available. Balkanikinikikikikking. Balkanikinkinking10. In the beginning ningi ningi. Balkaniking 160. Allah subhanahab wa ta'ala is the only true God. Man, I destroy that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only true God. Bible is not the word of God. Oh, Balkaniking ging 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 160. Tell that to Mr. Diva Don't Play on the other stream. I don't think he's gonna be happy with you. You want to ruin your Friday night? Go tell that to another user with the name Diva Don't Play. He's not gonna be happy. Diva, someone else here is telling Bible is not the word of God, man. Come get him. Probably most likely Muslim. Alright guys, been 3 hours. I'm out of here. Not without first thanking you for being here. Thank you for being so kind. If you find something of value in this channel, in this conversation, in these messages, yes, by all means, you're welcome to join and subscribe to the channel. If you want to give it a like or share the video, do so. You're welcome to do it. Only if there's value for you. So have a great night and I'll see you again on Monday night. Have a good one.